What happens when we face the unimaginable? What lies beyond the boundaries of life as we know it? Tonight, I'm going to share the story of James, a young man who, one winter evening, took a journey beyond this world and returned with an answer that will change the way you see everything. It was 1985, just before Christmas. 19-year-old James sat at the kitchen table in his family home, struggling for breath. He had suffered from severe asthma since childhood, but tonight, something felt different. The tightness in his chest was unbearable. Every gasp of air grew weaker, thinner, his lungs refusing to expand. Panic set in. He clutched the edge of the table, his vision blurring. The room felt like it was closing in. And then silence. James let go. At that moment, a calm washed over him. The pain disappeared. Instead of gasping for air, James felt himself rising, floating upwards as if being lifted out of his own body. Below him, he saw himself, slumped over, still, motionless, lifeless. So, this is it, he thought. This is the end. But he wasn't afraid. He wasn't panicked. Instead, he felt something unexpected. Peace. Then, something else happened. Small red sparks flickered in the air around him. They twisted, expanded, morphing into flashes of black and white, like the static of an old television set. His mind remained clear, sharper than ever before. But deep inside, he knew he was gone. He braced himself for what he thought would come next. The darkness, the final silence, the end. But that's not what happened. James felt something pulling him, not downward, but up. Then, boom! A force exploded through his consciousness, sending him rocketing out of his body. It was like being shot out of a cannon, like bursting through an unseen barrier between worlds. And suddenly he was weightless, drifting, suspended in an infinite velvety blackness. For the first time in his life, he felt whole, free from pain, free from sickness, free from everything. But something was missing. There was no one else here, just an endless void stretching in every direction. It was warm, but empty. And for the first time, fear crept in. Am I alone? He thought. Is this eternity? Then a light, a faint, distant point, like a star in the night sky. But it grew, brighter, stronger, closer. And James felt something he couldn't describe. He wasn't just seeing the light, he was being welcomed by it. It wasn't just brightness, it was life. It pulsed with an intelligence, an energy. It wasn't just a light, it was a presence, a being, a force of pure, radiant love. And as James moved toward it, he suddenly remembered something. This wasn't his first time here. He had been here before, and somehow he had forgotten. Then he felt something else. Regret. A deep, overwhelming regret. Because in that moment, he saw the truth. His life, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every failure had been his own creation. No one else had shaped it. No external force had controlled it. He had built it, and he had wasted it. Then, he saw them. Two figures emerged from the light. James recognized them immediately. One, his former skating coach who had died when he was 16. The other, a woman. His maternal grandmother. A woman he had never met in life. Yet, he knew her. Her presence filled him with warmth, with understanding. There were others too, standing just beyond the light, waiting, watching. But James wasn't ready to follow them. Not yet. He had to know, had to ask, what is the most important thing I can do with my life? The answer came. What is the most important thing I can do with my life? The answer came, not as words, but as understanding. It flowed into him like a current, and it was so simple. Make the world aware of this love, this light, this truth. Make them remember. Then James had a choice. Stay or go back? And for a long, long moment, he hesitated. But then something hit him. His mother, his family. If he stayed, they would suffer. And James wanted to live, not for himself, but for them. He turned to the light, and he asked, "What should I do?" And the answer was immediate. Go back. So he did. James's eyes flew open. Agony flooded every inch of his body. His lungs burned, his head pounded. He was back, but he was forever changed. Because now he knew there was more. There was light, and there was love. And that knowledge would stay with him forever. James was given a glimpse of what lies beyond. But what do you believe? Have you ever experienced something like this? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to hear more real NDE stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.